So we've got a combination of cheese, butter, and fresh herbs. I mean, what's not to love? So let's do it. Today we are making savory, herb, and cheddar scones. Let's look at the ingredients we need. So we've got all-purpose flour, gonna sift all this dry. We've got baking powder, we've got sugar, and then this is a spice blend. So in here I've got some salt. I'm using some herb de Provence, but you can use whatever like dry spice blend you have. I've used dried rosemary and basil before, and it's been really tasty too. And then I've got a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder. A stick of butter. This is really cold. Actually, it's been sitting in the freezer. Some cheddar cheese and heavy cream. All right, so let's go ahead and mix this up. So first we'll start with our dry. And we're doing the biscuit method, which is what I did in the buttermilk biscuit video. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. I go pretty in depth on that. And we're gonna sift our dry. Spice blend is not gonna really sift well with all the herbs, so I'm just gonna pour that in there. We'll skip that. But we'll sift our sugar and we'll sift our baking powder. Also to our dry, we're gonna add the fresh herbs. Take the leaves off. You don't wanna cut up the stems. So we're gonna go ahead and chop up these herbs. So we've got our fresh herbs, and we're gonna go ahead and toss that into our dry mixture. Get this all mixed in. All right, so we'll set this aside. Our dry is all done. All right, let's move on. So we are now going to go ahead and add in our butter. So my preferred method is to still kind of rub it in, get in there with your hands. But I just want to show another way to do it. A lot of people do it this way, which is, it works just fine. So we're gonna take a stick of butter. You wanna make sure it's really cold. Mine has been sitting in the freezer for a little bit, not long, maybe about 20 minutes. And we're gonna use a grater and just go ahead and grate up this stick of butter. I like to do it just on this piece of parchment to make it easier for when I wanna go ahead and add it to my dry. You'll get to the end and there's not gonna be much left. You can cut that up with a knife or break it, or be adventurous and try to go as far down as possible. But I care about my fingers. All right, that's good. These little chunks can go in there, that's all good. All right, so now we've got our butter. Try to get as much out as possible. We want the whole stick up in our scones. Okay, we want all the butter. So then we're literally just gonna take our parchment and throw the butter right in there with all of our dry. And just make sure you mix that in so the butter is all evenly distributed. Okay, bam, butter's in there. Now we're gonna do our cheese. So I've got 5 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese, and since we've got the cheese grater out, I'm just gonna go ahead and knock this out too. All right, so we've got our cheese, and we're just gonna do the same exact thing we just did with the butter. Throw in our cheese, and then we're gonna mix this in. Now the cheese is gonna wanna kind of clump together. So do your best to just get in there, break it up. So again, you have not huge clumps of cheese, and that your cheese is really evenly distributed. All right, so we're all set. That's what we're looking for. Now we're gonna add in our heavy cream. 1 1/4 cup of cold heavy cream. Gonna go ahead and pour most of it in, leave a little bit. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with that biscuit dough. We're just really trying to hydrate all the flour, not mixing it too much. And pour the rest in. I brought me a little extra because I found that you need between like 1 1/4 cup and 1 1/2 cup. It's like a delicate balance. You don't want it too dry, you don't want it too wet. I'm gonna add me a little bit more cream. should be good with that. Okay, same thing as with biscuits. I'm gonna dump this out. I'm gonna knead it really quick, bring it together, and toss this out. Still, it's very crumbly. We're kneading really quick, doing our best to bring this together. It looks so scary, like it's not gonna come, but I promise y'all it will. I know, it's like you have to trust this process. I'm gonna go ahead and get this into a ball now. Kneaded it a couple times. All right, I added like a dab more of heavy cream because I felt like this was a little dry. I'm not gonna do folds on this. I'm just gonna start to begin to shape this into a disc. When I was younger, I used to really wanna like scones, but they would be so dry. Like, I would be like, I should like this, but it's so dry. And, you know, that had kind of turned me off of them for a while. Because who likes dry bakery? So, then I recently got back into them. I was working at this bakery, which I didn't last long there. Only worked there about a month, but I made a lot of scones at this bakery. And, you know, they were really good. And I had grown a deeper appreciation for scones. What we want to do is take our dough and get it into a disc, like a circle. So I'm kind of pushing down on the top and then like on the sides, kind of trying to create like a wall, about 1 inch high. The thing you really want to work on is getting this as even as possible. Like, you don't want it real high over here and then real low over there. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want your scones to have some kind of uniformity, like not one super big one and then a small one. And also, you want to try to avoid having a lot of cracks at the top. A few are okay, but you don't want it to be real cracky. And it's okay if this takes you a little time, you know? This is your work of art, okay? So I've got my circle, feeling good about that. Again, about 8 inches. You don't have to get out a tape and measure it. And now we're gonna go ahead and cut these scones. I'm just gonna cut down the middle. Cut it straight in half. Half again. Just try to go straight up. And then we're gonna cut our into, well, in the middle, you know what I mean. I'm gonna make 8 scones. Okay. Now, I don't want to bake like 8 scones right now, so I'm only gonna bake 4. So I've got me a little sheet lined with parchment, and I'm gonna set 4 on here. Brush the top with egg wash, and then I'm gonna go into an oven 350 degrees. Now, all right, scones are out the oven, y'all. They smell so good. I'm gonna brush them with a little melted butter because it seems like the right thing to do. You can see my 2 back here got a little like more brown. That's because at the halfway mark I should have turned them because the back of the oven gets a lot hotter. I didn't do that, but at like maybe 15 I would turn them so they bake evenly. They look good. Should I taste one? Should I let them cool a little longer? Let it cool, taste. I'm gonna let it cool a second. Let's go ahead and open it up. They're really tender inside. Not as many like layers and the whole flaky thing going because we didn't do any folds like we did with our biscuits. This is it, y'all. Like, these are it. It's like it's like being under your electric blanket in the middle of Wisconsin winter. I mean, they're just like so comforting. I just don't know what else to say. I mean, they are really good. Like, I can taste the rosemary. I can taste the herb de Provence, which has like a little lavender. So if you're not crazy about that, it's not strong, but man, you should do it. You should bake these. They are full of flavor, y'all. Full of flavor. I mean, doing the dry and then the fresh herbs is just like really made all the difference. I hope you bake them. And if you bake them, let me know. And until next time, happy baking.